I hope everybody is okay. So we'll go to Mudita first. Mudita from Bangkok. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening ค่ะท่านพระอาจารย์ I'm very good. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Okay, I have a question that I would like to ask. Yesterday I took 8 precepts, and then at night I realized that I use soap and shampoo that contains perfume. So I feel like I'm not sure if I have broke the precept because we should be refraining from using perfume.
Yes, but it's a minor point, not to worry about, because sometimes you cannot find a soap or shampoo nowadays without any scent. So if they come with scent, but you use it just to clean your body and not really want to enjoy using it for the purpose of sensual indulgence, then I think it's okay. But if you want to, maybe you avoid using soap and shampoo and just use water.
Okay.
That way you will be, so during Buddha's time, there's no shampoo or soap anyway, right?
That's right.
So just use
Maybe.
water. Water is good enough for one day.
That's right. Maybe I will just use water and some brush.
Yeah, if you want to be really strict,
Yes.
But if you
Okay.
say, well, nowadays it's almost impossible to find shampoo or soap without any scent. So it's up to you.
Yes. Okay. That's a very good advice, ค่ะท่านพระอาจารย์ I also didn't use body moisturizer because I also think maybe it's not appropriate. And at that time, the Buddha's time, there shouldn't be moisturizer as well, except oil.
Yes, if you use it for medicinal purposes, okay.
Right.
But if you use it for cosmetic purposes, then it's not okay.
Okay. So it's good to not to use it. Okay ค่ะ Okay. Thank you so much ค่ะ
Just back to the basic, back to the natural.
Okay.
When there was nothing, just natural water. That's all you use when you wash your body. Just water.
I will try to live the life like that.
Yeah, simple life.
Yes, because
without stress.
Because nowadays, yeah. Yes,
people
sorry.
use so much thing, they become relying on them, and when they don't help them, then they become stressed.
Yes, I really agree. Yes.
Okay.
Okay ค่ะ
Is that all for you today?
Yes, that's all for me today.
Okay.
Thank you so much ค่ะ
Gok Seng. Hi, Gok Seng.
Okay, good evening, Ajahn. Yeah. I have a question.
Could you speak closer to the microphone? Your voice kind of.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Ajahn, I have a question tonight, and that is I observed that in the last few days during the Chinese New Year holidays, my training somewhat has slackened. I tends to sleep a bit longer, and also sometimes when I wake up late, then I find that I do not have the time to do the meditation. And I've observed that sometimes when a period of long holidays like the Chinese New Year, my own training tends to slacken. So just want to have Ajahn, what advice would you give so that for a prolonged period of holidays, such as the Chinese New Year, my training will not be slackened?
You can do it by paying back it. Do it later on by how many hours you missed, then you have to make up for it later on. This way you will have no excuse to say, oh, I don't have time to practice. So after the holiday, then you just have to practice more just to catch up with what you have missed. I call it payback, pay back your time for meditation. So if you miss 4 hours of meditation practice, then you have to make it up. Don't let it slip away, because it can be an excuse for your defilement to use every time. Oh, there's something else I have to do. But you say whatever you have to do, you not on the cost of your practice. You don't want to pay with your practice. So you want to, this way you can maintain your practice, not sliding back, not advancing, but at least it's not sliding back. If you let things take over your time, your meditation practice time, then you will be sliding back. So you have to consider this. Okay.
Try to,
If you want to at least maintain your level of practice, then but if you can advance, that would be better. But at least if you cannot advance, you should not what you call going back, sliding back. You keep pushing yourself. Try to at least maintain the level that you are in right now. Okay.
Thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Next, Alvin Lee from Kuala Lumpur. Hi, Alvin.
Hi, Tanajan. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, Tanajan. Just a quick one. It's just when we talk about right concentration, are we talking about attaining the fourth jhana?
Yes, Appana Samadhi. Appana Samadhi.
Okay, once we get right concentration, I mean, looking at the Noble Eightfold Path, that will be under the other, if we look at Sila Samadhi and Panya, where is the Panya in the Noble Eightfold Path?
Samadhi and Samma Sankappo, the first two factors.
The first two factors. Okay.
Right view, right thought. Right view is to have the view of the Four Noble Truths and the three characteristics of existence.
Right view, right thoughts. Okay. So that will be the Panya. So
yes.
Okay. So it comes the other way, right? Because when we talk about Sila, Samadhi, and Panya,
there are many different levels of the Magga. See, when you start with the lower Samadhi, Samma Sankappo first. That is to abstain from killing, to have right speech, and then to have right livelihood. This is also wisdom, but wisdom on the lower end, on the lower level. Then they will propel you to keep the precepts, and then propel you to start meditating. And once you have meditation and you achieve the jhana, then you can go to the higher level of panya or wisdom, that of the Four Noble Truths and the three characteristics of existence.
Right.
So it comes around like a cycle, like a spiral thing, a spiral up and up, keeping pushing you up and higher and higher. So the next level of wisdom will be on the getting rid of the first three fetters. Once you get rid of the three fetters, then you move to the fourth and fifth fetters. Once you finish that, you go up to the 6th to the 10th fetters. These are all wisdom.
Right. Okay, so the basic one is to right livelihood, right speech.
Yeah, livelihood. These are the supporting factors that will support your wisdom.
Just keeping the 5 precepts first.
Yeah, 5 precepts or 8, because sometimes 5 is not enough to get into jhana easily. 8 precepts ordaining as a monk and keep 227 precepts.
Right. Okay. Understood.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, Kenneth from Switzerland. How are you, Professor?
Hello, Ajahn. Professor
Teaching
of Dhamma.
today? Are you teaching today?
No, we have the semester break right now. The next semester begins next week. So
You got
just,
anything?
sorry?
You have anything to ask today?
I have no questions at the moment, Ajahn. Thank you.
Okay, maybe later on.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Ka Phai Lim. Hi, Ka Phai Lim.
Hi,
From
good day to you,
Malaysia.
Ajahn.
Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
from
Good evening.
Kuala Lumpur. How are you, Ajahn?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, I'm fine too. Now is a festive season, so I have plenty of time to practice, especially on the Eve day. Our government finally opened up places of like temple we can go, so I feel very happy. And I got a question on uh, something related to dana and sila because these few days I've been doing providing dana and also uh, blood donations. Yeah, is that
Yes.
considered a form of dana? Or because I read,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
it's
contribution, donation, money,
yeah,
giving away your possession.
yeah,
The goal is for you not to rely on your possession as the source of happiness.
okay,
Because if you do that, you will have to keep working to earn more money and buy things to make you happy. So you should switch it from buying things to giving it away for donation to support good causes, helping people, helping school, hospitals, and so
yeah,
forth.
yeah,
This also will give you happiness.
yeah,
And it's a better kind of happiness because it is not addictive like the happiness you get from sensual objects.
yeah. Yeah, on the first day itself, I have go for the blood donations, and then the second day, I've donated some funding for the temple projects and some food as well.
Yes.
Yeah, the practice is good. When I do meditation, it's very conducive. It's really good. Yeah, good feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So now I can
Okay.
see the connections. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, Ajahn. Yeah, that's all I want to know.
Right.
Thank you.
You should try not to spend your money on sensual pleasures because it will be addictive and it will
Yeah.
become a hindrance to your meditation practice.
Mm.
But if you give it to charity, you feel good, you feel content, you have contentment, so you
Yeah.
don't feel have any pressure for the sensual pleasure. You
Yeah.
don't feel you need to find the sensual objects to make you happy because you can be happy with doing charity instead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Until you have no more money, then you don't have to worry. If you
Yeah.
don't have any money to give, then don't worry.
Yeah.
Some people thought they have to go back to work and make money so they can give again. No, that's
Yeah.
not the purpose.
The
Once you have no
the
money, then you don't
yeah.
have to worry about giving.
Yeah. I always try to think that the money and the fund is enough for the four essential: food, clothing, medicine, and
Yeah.
shelter. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to stop working really, not keep on working to get money to do charity
Mm.
because you want the time that you spend working to do meditation instead. So eventually you will want to stop working.
Mm.
If you have enough money to support yourself, or if you can find a monastery you can ordain, then you don't need money. Then you can practice all the time.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you,
Right.
Ajahn. Sadhu.
Right. Next, Claudia Schweiner from Nuremberg. Hi, Germany.
Good afternoon from Germany. Thank you. Yeah, I have no question today, but a remark. I think I'm progressing a little in accepting things as they are. I increased my meditation, and what's helpful to me is also to contemplate about anicca. So when a feeling comes, when I feel that I can't accept something, I tell myself it's transient, it will pass, and this is currently very helpful for me.
Good, very good. You can use that, or you can use anatta sometime, being natural phenomena you cannot control. If they
Yeah,
come, they come. You know, if they happen, they happen. You just have to accept them,
yeah, yeah.
and you will
I
have
will
no
go on.
stress.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Next, okay, sorry, you just went out. So it's B. Hi B from Bangkok.
Hi, Thanajan. Good evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thanajan, it was great to get to see you again last Sunday.
Okay,
Yes. So I'm back in Bangkok now, back to work, back to the office.
good. I hope you don't get married.
I'm sorry?
I hope you don't get married.
Oh, no, not yet. No, not anytime soon.
Okay.
I have
Because
to,
you have a girlfriend, so be
yes,
careful.
yes. Many people have told me that. I am very cautious. Try to be mindful. Thank you. So I do have a question.
Yes.
It's regarding contemplation of the body.
Okay.
So sometimes when I meditate and my mind is still to a certain extent, I will try to do vipassana. But I sometimes find it a little bit difficult because you once mentioned, Thanajan, you once mentioned that if you come across a real situation that's life-threatening, it is easier to test whether you really have let go to your attachment to the body. But for me, as of now, I don't really have any scenario that will test that. So is there a way I can contemplate the body and able to, let it go for real?
Well, I'm not sure. You can first go to a funeral or try to look at dead bodies to impress upon your mind that this is coming sooner or later. Okay. And then try to keep it in your mind. This is doing the homework, preparing yourself for the eventuality. And then maybe someday you might run into something, like a thief or somebody robbing you with a knife or something. And then you'll see how would you react to that situation. When you're driving, sometimes you might crash your automobile or something. Then you will then see the test, see whether you will be able to pass the test. If you're not affected by what's going on, then you're okay. But if you become excited, you become fearful, then you fail the test.
Oh, I see.
Or sometimes you should come to my monastery some weekend and go upstairs in the mountain, alone in the mountain. And at night, maybe taking a walk around the mountain. See how you would feel like.
So maybe
Or
run into some
go to
animals.
a nearby cemetery if you like.
So go to places that will test, the mind, whether it's really.
If it doesn't react, then it's okay. If it reacts, then it means it's still attached to the body.
Because I feel that it's easy to tell myself that, oh, I'm not attached to this body, but in actual fact, it's much more difficult, especially if I don't have concentration. I feel when I do have good concentration, I can kind of tell myself that, okay, this body is not permanent. It will eventually cease to exist. But then after I come out of concentration for a while, the defilements come back and then it becomes difficult again. So I'm trying to find a way to be able to sustain this thought, this notion, for the long term, rather than just temporarily, which is quite difficult.
Yeah, especially if you have to do some other things, then your mind has to think about those things. and you will not be able to keep reminding yourself that the body is impermanent. That's why people go to retreat, because then they will be alone, and then they will have all the time to reflect on this nature of the body, on the dissolution of the body. And also they might have an environment in which they can be tested. Like when you go to Thai forest monastery, they are quite scary, because there might be snakes, there might be some animals around. So you
Yes,
need
that's
those
true.
things to test your mind, whether test your wisdom really, whether it's a real wisdom or it's still fake wisdom. Right now we say we have wisdom, but it's fake wisdom because the environment is not real. See, you're in a safe environment, so you can say, "Oh, I can see death. I'm not afraid," But that's because the environment is fake. It's not real. You have to be in a fearful environment, life-threatening environment, and see whether you can still say, "Oh, yeah, life is impermanent. This body is gonna die. So be it." You need something like that to really test yourself. And also, if you pass, you know that once you pass, you will never be afraid of death anymore. And you don't even have to test it again. But maybe for confirmation, you might want to do it a few times more until you find that you're not affected by anything as far as the body is concerned.
Yes, I think that's a very good point. I really need to take myself out of a comfortable environment, which I'm usually in.
Yes, right now you can also use the painful feeling as your test, because you don't need to go to any place. All you need to do is just sit and then don't move for a few hours, and then the pain will come up. You pretend that this is the pain you get from COVID-19, and see whether you can remain unaffected by the pain. The goal is to keep the mind calm and not reacting, just merely knowing, because the mind is not the body, and what's happening is happening to the body, not to the mind. So the mind should be able to just watch, just to merely know the painful feeling arising in the body and not being affected. If the mind is affected, then you can use the mantra to stop it. Or if you can separate the mind from the body by looking at the body as being a material thing. It's made up of the four elements. While the mind is the knowing element, it's separate, and the feeling is just a feeling, a phenomenon, like sound that you hear. So you can just leave the painful feeling alone, then you can pass the test that way. So eventually, when you get sick with whatever sickness, you're gonna have painful feeling in your body, but your mind will be peaceful and calm and not affected by the sickness of the body. So you can do this. You don't need to go anywhere. You can do it at home right now. Just sit and don't move. Meditate for 3 or 2 until your painful feeling arise, and see how you can whether you can deal with it in a way that will not affect your mind or not.
Yes, because if I sit to a certain amount of time, the pain will start to arise. So that's when I need to see.
And you want to get up. So you tell them, don't get up, you're running away from the pain. What happens if you run to a pain you cannot run away from? Like when you're in sickness. And you just have to learn to live with it. And meditation can help. If your mind become restless, you need to calm it down with mantra or and meditation object. Send it back into the jhana, not jhana, just to let it be calm ubekkha, not reacting. You might not have to go into jhana, just to make it calm enough so that it can leave the painful feeling alone.
Yes.
Or look at the painful feeling as something that you cannot control, you cannot avoid, like the weather. You cannot control, you cannot avoid. If it happens, it happens. But you can adjust your mind to the happening of the weather. So you should be able to adjust your mind to the happening of the painful feelings also.
Yes. So something beyond our control. It doesn't belong to us.
And you're gonna meet it sooner or later. But you can meet it with equanimity, without any qualms. Just remain calm.
Yes, I shall try that then. See how
Okay.
it works out.
By the way, if you cannot sit and go through painful feeling, but you want to curb your desire, you can sit comfortably on a chair or something and force yourself to sit there for 3 or 4 hours and not get up. Or if you should feel tired, you might be allowed to stand up, but you shouldn't do anything else. Just sit and stand, and you can meditate, you can recite a mantra, you can contemplate whatever you want. But what you want to do is to keep this desire of wanting to move around. Normally, if you are here, you want to move there. Once you're there, you want to go somewhere else. You should keep running around. Try to see if you can curb this desire. This has nothing to do with painful feeling. This has to do with your restless desire, your restlessness. You try to see if you can force it to limit the movement of your body. Let it just sit or stand. If you're thirsty, have a bottle of water next to you. Unless if you really have to go to the toilet, then you can excuse yourself for that. But once you finish, you should come back and continue on with your sitting or standing. This can curb a lot of desire, curb a lot of cravings. Or fasting. Fasting is another method that can curb your desire for food and eating. And also it forces you to meditate, forces you to calm your mind. In order to cope with this situation, you need to calm your mind. You have to make your mind still. Once your mind becomes still, then you can sit, you can stand, you can be anywhere without having any desire to move around. These are some of the ways that you can use to instigate your practice, because sometimes you feel your practice get to be stagnant. So you need something to stimulate your practice. So you need to do something like fasting, forcing yourself to walk for a long time, walk for 3 or 4 hours, or force yourself to sit 3 or 4 hours. This will then sort of stimulate your practice. You have to be mindful, you have to be calm in order to cope with this situation. So that's what sometimes people say, that they're not moving forward. So they need something to stimulate. And these are some of the practices that can stimulate your practice. Fasting, walking for many hours, walking meditation for many hours, 3 or 4 hours at a stretch, or sitting for 3 or 4 hours at a stretch. If you cannot, keep up with the pain, then you can maybe switch your position, but still sit, but not doing anything, just sit. If you find it's uncomfortable and you cannot go through it yet, then you might stand up, but don't do anything else. Stand up to relieve the pain, then after you stand for a while, you might want to sit again, so you sit again. But you have to do this for many, many hours. This will force you to be mindful. This will force you to meditate, because there's nothing else you can do. If you don't meditate, then your mind will be restless and agitated. This will advance your practice if you can do it. Eventually, you can be able to calm down. Okay?
Yes, that's very clear. Thank you very much, Thanachan.
These are some of the techniques you can use in your practice. You have to sort of find different things to stimulate your practice. Sometimes you have to go to a fearful place, for instance. Go to practice in a cemetery or practice in the wild forest alone. This will stimulate your practice because you have to be mindful and you have to be calm. If not, then you will not be able to remain there. I have some people came to stay. They want to spend the night at the mountain. After they spend about maybe they came in the afternoon, and by 7 o'clock they want to go home. See? There's so many things in their mind. They're going crazy with their mind. The mind keeps scaring himself. Not the environment, but it's the mind itself that's creating all these fearful images.
Yeah, that's true. It's nothing to do with the body. It's just the mind having images of this being scary, this being dangerous, and then reacting to it.
And you have to use meditation, use mindfulness to stop it. If you succeed, then you can pass the test. Then you will not be afraid to stay in places like that anymore. Because it's your mind that's creating all this fearful situation in your mind.
Yes, that's true. And it's subconsciously as well. We don't even realize it until why am I scared of this? And then you realize that, we've lost our mindfulness. So yes, it's very true.
Okay.
Yes, I will try out what Thanachan has suggested. Thank you very much for the advice. Sadhu.
Okay. Next forest, Massachusetts. Are you still under some kind of winter storm?
Yes, right now it's raining and it was snowing earlier. So, I'm taking off 2 weeks from work to do a meditation retreat at home. And I have a couple of questions. So the first one is I'm doing using my breath to try to concentrate and focusing on this area on my upper lip. But then sometimes suddenly I can no longer find the area and then I become confused. So how do I proceed?
Can you still feel the breath coming in and going out?
Yes.
Okay, just feel that. Just feel the breath. Don't worry about the contact point.
Okay. And then another question I had is that I feel like I'm dependent on the feeling of piti for happiness. And then when I get it, then I feel happy. But sometimes for example, if I'm very physically tired, then I cannot reach any feelings of piti. And then it's very easy for my mind to start becoming angry or start having sensual desire. So how should I understand and deal with this?
You should abandon that desire also. The abandon for pity is also defilement. Just meditate and take what you get. The goal is to get emptiness, really. Get nothing. Because nothing is the best for your mind. Emptiness is the best for your mind. So if you don't get anything, don't worry. Just keep meditating until your mind fall into emptiness. And that's when you have equanimity and contentment. That's better than pity.
Okay. Thank you, Tanajan.
Okay. Don't anticipate, don't expect anything in your practice except being mindful. That's the only thing you have to be expecting. Am I being mindful with my meditation object? That's all you have to anticipate, really. But as far as the other thing, they come naturally after you have mindfulness. They'll follow mindfulness.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Okay. Gek Yen So from Penang. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Tanajan. I'm fine. Good evening to you, Tanajan. No question today. I'm listening today.
Okay, fine. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks.
Kilian Dong, next. How are you? From London.
Hello. I'm very good, thank you. Thank you very much. Um, Listening to your conversation with B, um, like since last time we talked about my feeling of pain in my legs, I didn't like I don't stop when I feel the pain. I just carry on, and I only stop when I don't feel pain anymore. But from your conversation, I was asking myself whether recently, because I started to have, like, instead of having the legs pains in the leg, I started to have pains in my shoulders. And I was thinking, oh, because I'm getting old, it's my physical body just weighing down so heavy on my shoulders. But whether is it just a new type of trap or something? It's not really physical pain or like physical thing. Is it something created by my mind just for me to stop meditating?
Well, if it only happens when you meditate, then that's probably created by your defilement. But if it's all the time, whether you're practicing or not, you still have that pain, then it's real physical pain that you have to maybe deal with by seeing a doctor or somebody. But if it only happens when you meditate, then that's usually the defilement.
I'll check it. Maybe it's more on mental rather than physical.
Yeah.
I do have like a not very good sinew or bone system, but of course when I do something else, it's not so painful. Only when I meditate, it's much more painful. So maybe it's more mental. I'll check it
Yes.
out. Thank you.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Next, Julia. Hi, Julia.
Greetings, Ajahn. Thank you for doing this. Are you well?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Super. I'm okay. I have a question. I decided to do the parts of the body.
Yes.
And I've received them from 3 different teachers over like 15 years, and I didn't choose to practice them over a long time. So each time, okay, maybe 2 teachers and then 1 recorded talk. One person puts mata longa, the brain, after karisa. And then another teacher puts it, I think, after mutang. And then the third on the recorded talk I heard put it after, I think, like, included it with atiminja, or in Burma I guess they call it atimazang. And so I decided that maybe it wasn't there. I think I heard in very early practice tradition. So I decided just to leave the list with no brain. So just do 31 parts instead of 32 parts. And that feels right to me, but is it okay in terms of the tradition?
Well, I'm not sure about the tradition. It may varies from tradition to tradition, but the purpose is to study, to see what is contained in your body. That's the whole purpose. To
Okay.
see what your body is made up of, and they are the 32 parts. And especially you want to look at the repulsive or unwholesome, not good-looking part to dispel your what you call your perception of the beautiful parts, so that you can then eliminate your sexual desire if it's of the person that you have any sexual desire for. Once you see the unwholesome or disgusting parts of the body, then your sexual desire for that person can be disappear. That's really the purpose of looking at the 32 parts. One of it. The other one is looking at your own body, 32 parts, so that you can see that there is not you in this 32 parts in this body. It's just your own misunderstanding or your own delusion to think that you are the body or that you are inside the body. When you start to break down the body into 32 parts, then you find no self. No, you don't. You're the one who breaks down is not in there, right? It's like when you're looking for your keys to the house and you think you left it in the purse. So you have to empty your purse and find out whether it's in there or not. Maybe somewhere else, but you think it's in the purse. So to make sure, you have to empty your purse out and see if the keys are in there or not. This is another purpose of studying the 32 parts, to dispel the delusion of a self in the body. So two purposes really, as far as the 32 parts are concerned. Once if you see the unwholesome parts of the body, then you can get rid of your sexual or attraction toward other people's body or your own body. Sometimes you might be obsessed with your own body. So when you really look at the rest of part of the body, you might not be so obsessed. You might be obsessed with your hair, your skin, or whatever. But when you look at the other parts and say, what am I worrying about, this hair and the skin, when there are lots of parts that is not really good looking at all. I'm living with it all the time. You get it?
Yes, Ajahn. Thank you very much.
And by the way, I think it's better to use the English version of the part, because you speak English. So when you use the English translation, I think you can see it clearly, more clearly than using the Pali. But if you like the Pali, it's okay also.
I like the Pali, but I will try. And I ask your suggestion, so I want the suggestion, and I will compare in my own experience. Thank you for that.
Eventually, you want to be able to visualize it. Visualize the whole body, inside and outside. Visualize the skeleton, visualize the heart, lungs, kidneys, intestines, brain, so forth. So that you become a superwoman, like a Superman with X-ray vision.
Okay, so now that made me think of one other little addendum question. Is it okay? I don't want to take.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it says there are 7 things that to memorize it internally, to speak it, and also then the color, the shape, the location, the direction, and the other parts delineating the borders. And so for direction, somebody said that it means just if it's above the navel or below the navel. But for me, I started thinking about if it's, like the bile is excreting out versus some other organ was holding in, or the head hair was growing up and other things go down. So when it says direction,
I don't think that is that important.
Okay.
What's important is the visual, just the visual, what it looks like, what they look like, the whole 32 parts.
Okay. Super. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. Where are you from, by the way? I forgot. From Toronto?
I live in Colorado in a very small town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Near Denver, or is it somewhere else?
It's 3 hours from Denver, but I take my mail in Denver.
Okay. So it must
It's
be very, very cold now with the storm.
Yes. There's not much snow, but it was -5 Fahrenheit predicted.
I see you putting your warm clothes even inside. Okay. Okay, nice talking to you.
You too.
Okay, next, Eileen from Malaysia.
Good evening, Ajahn.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. No question today, just for listening.
Okay.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Bye. We'll go to Sri and check from Vancouver. Are you cold too in Vancouver? Must be, huh?
Not really, Ajahn. It's raining. It's not really cold in Vancouver.
I thought you're further north. It should be colder than Seattle.
We are
I heard Seattle
west.
is very cold.
Yeah, we are often made fun of by the rest of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we have a little bit of snow and the whole city panic, and then we always other parts of Canada always made fun of Vancouver people because we're just quite spoiled by the weather.
You escaped the cold weather.
Yeah, we are quite warm here.
Yeah, we don't have that much snow.
Okay, any question from you two?
Yes, Kan Ajahn, when one's get to Appana Samadhi, will he still feel bodily pain?
Sometimes he can feel, there are two ways. Sometimes the body disappeared entirely, and now you have left just the mind. Sometimes the body you can still perceive the body and the painful feeling of the body, or the sound that you hear, but your mind is not reacting to any of those things. You might just remain calm and merely knowing.
Oh, so meaning that once it's in Appana Samadhi, like if he wants to perceive like the body and he want to feel the pain, can he then separate out the body? Then this is the feelings. I mean,
you have to wait until you come out of the Appana Samadhi first. When you're Appana Samadhi, you don't want to do anything. You want to maintain it for as long as possible with mindfulness. But after you no longer can maintain the mind to remain in Appana Samadhi, when it comes out and then if you continue sitting for a while, you'll start experiencing the painful feeling. Then you can use vipassana to separate the painful feelings from the body, from the mind, and look at it as one of the natural phenomena, mental phenomena, which is anicca, anatta. And if you have any desire, you can have dukkha. So if you don't want to have dukkha, you want to leave that alone. Now you leave the weather alone.
Oh, okay. So this is when one comes out. Okay.
Yeah. But when you're in samadhi, don't do anything. Try to keep it calm and still for as long as possible.
Okay. But still be able to feel the bodily pain in yeah, like is it one in the Lonta Mahabua's books, like he said, like even if he's in the samadhi, right? So he can feel like this bodily pain.
Like I said, there are two types of apana. If you're fully in absorption, then it's totally, the body can be entirely disappear from the mind. Partially, then it can still feel the body.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Thank you, Ajahn.
All right. I think, Warren, I'm not sure if you're hearing or not. You turn off your video. Okay, you're back on. Hi, Warren.
Hi, Ajahn. How are you going?
Where are you from?
From Australia.
Australia. Okay.
So I
You got
just want
any
to give my
question?
charge. Yeah, got a few. Hopefully, I'll try and string them together in a sequence that'll keep it short. I was just wondering about karma. Like, I understand it's action, etc. Does that determine like your next life? Like, I understand if you've depending on how much good karma you've got versus bad karma, that's going to determine your, I guess, your next life. But would it, I guess, determine in what sort of, I guess, like if you're going to be in a good family or a bad family, something like that? Would you be able to comment, please?
Well, basically the mind is the one who does the karma. Okay. The mind thinks, and this is mental karma. And when you have a body, then the mind tells the body what to say and what to do. And normally you can do three types of karma: good, bad, and neutral karma. And when you do good karma, you create happiness in your mind and bringing good quality up inside the mind. The same way, if you do bad karma, you are creating bad feelings in your mind and also bad qualities, which become habits. People have good habits and bad habits. That's because of their karma. And when the body dies, this mind, which has accumulated either good or bad karma, will then exist without the body for a while. When it's not having a body, we call it a spiritual being. And this spiritual being can be a happy one or can be a unhappy one. If you do good karma, then the good karma will make you a happy spiritual being. And we use the word angels, or for a spiritual being that is happy. On the other hand, if your spiritual being or your mind is not happy, it's in misery, then we call it hell, for instance. So this is the period between rebirth. Eventually, the good and bad karma that makes your mind feel good or feel bad will then cancel each other out, become neutral. Then you take up a human birth, and then your karma also can influence where you were born. Maybe if you did a lot of charity in your past life, you might be born in a rich family. But maybe it's not the entire factor. It might be other factors also. You might not be born in a rich family, but you somehow, when you grow up and you work, money just seem to come easy for you, for instance. So this is how we interpret the result of good karma.
Is it possible, like, if one's like, I understand it's sort of like a balance, like scales, or like I say, if one's done bad karma or bad action, is that bad karma able to be I guess, cancelled out if you start performing good karma, or will the body or will the person have to repay back that bad karma in due time? Is that possible to
Yes,
negate
yes.
or cancel out that bad karma by doing good or dana?
No, you cannot cancel, but you can deter it by good karma. If you have more good karma than your bad karma, then your good karma will take effect first. But when
So
when your good karma, what you call, become lower and become equal or less than the bad karma, then your bad karma will then take effect.
so the bodies will have to, I guess, what's the word? I guess experience or repay back that bad karma in time.
In
It's just
times, good and bad karma. It's just a matter of when.
okay. If just curious, like I was thinking the other day, like with the different realms and whatnot, like like I know animals are regarded as a sentient being. Like if a tiger kills a antelope or something, would they still is that still a karma for that animal? Out of curiosity, by any chance?
Can you repeat the question again? The animal?
Yeah, like with the different realms and sentient beings, I understand they all produce karma. Like if a tiger, for example, kills a deer, would that be classed as a bad karma? I was just curious for that
Yes, it's
particular
still
animal.
considered to be a bad karma. It's still killing, so it will then force it to be remain to be in the animal realm longer. See, until it takes up the kind of animal that doesn't kill, like a deer that eats a vegetarian, for instance. Then the bad karma will not be accumulating. It will expire eventually.
Okay.
But it's very complicated to really try uh, to describe every situation. So
It is. Yeah,
just
it's quite complex.
so it's
The
just better
Buddhist
just to take it
cosmology, and
generally. Just take
it's
it
interesting.
generally. It's better just to take it generally. Good karma give you good result, and bad karma give you bad result. Consequences.
And is it true, from what I've read in some of the books, that your karma or your actions go on a priority, like your physical actions, that's your worst karma, and then your speech? I guess that's a less karmic action, and then through to the less or the most less karmic action was your thoughts. Would that be true, Ajahn? Like your thoughts produce the less, the next
So
serious is then your speech, and then the worst is your actual physical action.
partially true, but also it depends on the damage that creates from your karma. If you're creating lots of damages, even just by your thought or your speech, without your physical action, it can be a bad, can be strong consequences. Like you might order someone to kill, you press a button and you drop a bomb, and 10,000 people die, even though you didn't do any physical
Yeah.
action. So you have to look at the consequence of your action also, how much you damage or benefit you do toward other people. This is more important than whether physical, verbal, or mental. But
How would
if you do only verbal, no physical, no vocal, then it will just affect your own mind. If you think bad, you feel bad. If you think good, you feel good.
Okay.
Okay.
In regard to
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I've just got two more questions quickly. Are insects regarded as sentient beings, out of curiosity?
Yes, insects, and if they have the 5 organs, they have the mind. Any being with 5 organs, like eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body, that can feel, then there's a mind attached to it.
Okay. And one last question. Thank you, Ajahn. In regard to the kaleshas and the defilements that that the mind experiences, is it possible that there is spiritual realms to cause the kaleshas or temptations or defilements like Mara and I guess demons and spiritual beings? Is that possible? Like I know the mind, the cheetah and defilements can be produced by yourself, but is there possible influences from Mara or other spiritual beings that can cause that?
Causing what? Causing cheetah?
Yeah, are the defilements or temptations or
Yes.
the kaleshas?
The last word I can't understand.
Kaleshas or bad. Is it kaleshas? The kaleshas, KLESHA,
KLESSI.
KLESHA. I thought it was Buddhist for defilement.
Or defilement. Kilesa, I think.
Okay, sorry.
KILESA, kilesa.
Yeah.
This is for defilement, greed, hate, and delusion. It's called kilesa.
Okay. Is that possible? Can that be influenced by spiritual beings such as Mara?
Mara is just, there's no being such as Mara. It's just a personification of a mind that is evil, of an evil mind, or evil thoughts. When you think of evil thought, you have Mara inside your mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much for clearing that up, Ajahn.
All right. You're welcome. Let me go to Belinda next from Singapore.
Well done, Ajahn.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How about you?
Good, fine, thank you.
I'd like to update Ajahn that I've started trading in the social service sector under the government grant for those who are affected by the COVID-19. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
As we practice, there's absolute truth and the relative truth. So as I go along the course, there were times where we are supposed to brand ourselves, to create a label on ourselves, like to project an image of ourselves, to create a self-image, so that we are like a product, like a brand to project ourselves. So I find that is whereas when we practice, we want to let go of self-identity.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it challenging to integrate to the social or the worldly condition where we have to react like in a worldly situation. So I like to seek Ajah's advice as to how we can cope on that.
Just know that it's not real. It's a role playing. What you do in your real life with other people is role playing. When you're alone, you're just a mind that thinks and think good or bad, and you want to train the mind to think good and not to think bad. So don't take it seriously when you're dealing with your conventional world. Just think of it as such, like a stage, like a play. You're just an actor. You just do your part, and sooner or later it's gonna end. When the body dies, then this play will stop. Your role will stop when your body dies. So it's good to think of death also from time to time to remind you that everything that we do here is just temporary and not really real.
Thank you, Ajahn. Is it also right to keep the mind to the best, to the present moment, not to over plan ahead, and just go through the course from moment to moment? and let the universe unfold as to which plan where we are supposed to be.
Well,
Or
you have to do some planning for the future also. So be ready for whatever happens, you know. But then once you're ready, then you can forget about the future and stay in the present. But you have to know what's going to happen, so that you have to ask yourself whether you can handle what's going to happen or not. If you cannot, you can train yourself to do so. But you should not worry about it when things don't happen. But you have to be ready, be prepared. Prepare for the worst. Expect the best, hope for the best, expect the worst. And do whatever you can.
So a lot of practice to
yeah.
Because sometimes when get hits, it's not easy to digest.
If you have mindfulness and you can control your mind, that will solve all your problems. Because whatever happens, you can keep your mind calm, and then your mind will not be affected by whatever happens. Your body will be affected, but not your mind. So you can save the mind, but you cannot save the body. So concentrate on saving the mind. Don't worry about the body too much. No matter how hard you try, you cannot save it anyway. You might be able to look after it for a while, but eventually it's gonna die. But your mind won't die with the body. But your mind, if you don't save it, it can be afflicted with suffering. So you should put the emphasis on protecting your mind, saving your mind by developing mindfulness and wisdom or insight.
Ajahn, one more question about the body. Ever since I first started a retreat, I get prolonged numbness after a long retreat, where the leg would have prolonged numbness. So then I went for acupuncture and I recovered. And eventually that sort of brings about fear to face the numbness again. So at this moment, I do still have the prolonged numbness as well. So every time when I get to a retreat, the numbness would not go and it remains on the body. So usually the numbness would come up or stay after a long retreat.
Well, you just have to look at it as impermanent and anatta. Impermanent, it will change, but maybe slowly. Anatta, you cannot force it to change quickly. You just have to learn to live with it, whatever it is. There's no point being afraid of it or fearful of it, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So you want to teach your mind just to be calm and accept whatever happens. You know? Then your mind will not be hurt. You're hurting your mind when you become afraid of the numbness. You don't want to hurt your mind, so you don't want to. Don't want your mind to react to anything, just to be merely knowing. And this you need equanimity from meditation practice. Okay, so try to meditate a lot and train yourself in mindfulness all the time. Be mindful. Okay?
Thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Lisa Wu, you're next. You're from Singapore.
Yes, good evening, Ajahn, good evening. I have no question today, listening to the others to gain, have a better understanding.
Okay. Then.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Let me go to Adeline and Philip Lim. Hi, how are you?
Good evening, Tanajan.
Good evening, Tanajan. Thank you. We are fine. I hope you are doing well also.
Fine.
We have no questions tonight, just listening in.
Okay. Right. Well, then let me go to William. Hi, William. Where are you from? I forgot. I'm sorry.
I'm from England, Bante.
From England, yes. Okay. Can I help you?
Oh, I just want to know the usual question, Bante, with Sila. When Sila is broken, then it creates many troubles and many worries. So I wrote to you about the matter, but I don't know if you have any advice you can give me for this.
Well, the past is past. But forget about it. Try to stay in the present, you know, and be ready to accept whatever consequences that your past misdeeds can produce. You cannot stop it, but you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't do you any good to worry or to dwell in the past. Better to stay in the present, which is usually nothing. When you're in the present, there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I felt I lost my connection to the Buddha, Bante.
You can reconnect by reciting the mantra Bhutto Bhutto. Keep reciting the mantra Bhutto Bhutto Bhutto, and then you reconnect to the one who knows, which is the Buddha. Okay.
Thank you very much, Bante.
All right. Any more questions?
Maybe I might write to you again if I can.
Okay. Right. Sajal Kha, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank
From
you very
Maryland.
much.
Thank you for your donation. I heard that you have donated some money to the school also.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah. Tanajan, I have a question, and it's kind of connected to what Warren was talking about, animals and stuff, and I really could not talk about this until now, but last summer one snake suddenly appeared below my chair where I'm sitting right now, because it's summertime and a lot of garden snakes come in, and kind of panic set in, and I think frantically, because in the evening and stuff, and I killed it, and I have not told anybody, because some of the snakes are poisonous, sometimes they are not, but I actually that the panic set in so quickly that I killed it, and I carried it and outside it, and this is the same place where I sit and listen to Dhamma and everything, and it kind of sat heavy on my heart, because once I have started following Buddha's teachings and stuff, and this is something that I think of, how do I connect these things? Because whenever I'm praying and stuff like that, I'm thinking, I'm kind of looking that, hey, maybe it's still alive, or maybe it will appear from nowhere, but since it was the evening, we are supposed to call the animal control, and they will come and catch it and things like that, and the family is very squeamish about snakes and stuff, and so I didn't actually think about those things, but it's actually basically the panic and the self-protection mode, and before it strikes me, I'll have to kill it, and in 2 seconds flat, I actually killed it, and I regret is one thing, but I just somehow want to connect that how am I supposed to relate to this, and what?
Well, it just means your mindfulness is not quick enough to stop your mind from reacting badly with bad action. Had you been training in mindfulness long enough, you can stop your mind as soon as it wants to hurt that snake and tell you that this is not the right way to do it. You can try to stop it or try to catch it, but you shouldn't kill it. You know?
Right. Actually, the moment I see it kind of swaying on something, and the panic kind of really set in, because if I had the mindfulness, I would have stepped out and away and then called the animal control and wait or something.
That's
right. So
yeah. So you have to train more in mindfulness. And also maybe developing metta meditation, that you should not hurt other beings. They are like you, they don't want to be hurt. So if you don't want to be hurt, you don't want to hurt other beings either. Because somehow the law of karma will take effect. Whatever you do in the future, you'll be the victim, and the victim will be the perpetrator. So it's just like switching role. You became the snake, and the snake became a human being. And when you meet, then you kill the snake. The human being will kill the snake. So it just keeps on going on like this until you have metta. When you have metta, then you stop hurting other beings.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Is that all?
Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Lillian, how are you, Lillian? You're in Bangkok, right?
Yes, correct. I just have one question today. I wanted to ask, what is the significance of people releasing fish? I see a lot of people doing that in Thailand. I'm not sure what is the significance of doing that.
It's like sparing lives. See, fish supposed to be killed, so they go buy the fish and then give them the freedom, save them from being killed. This is considered one form of charity or dana, giving life.
Okay, so if I do that, then I can dedicate it to whoever I want to after doing that, right?
If the people who die, not the living, just the dead.
Okay. Any kind of fish will do, because I know the Thais, they have different meaning for different fish. It doesn't matter, right, actually?
Well, you should try to buy the fish that's going to be killed.
Okay.
Yeah. But sometimes they have this business in which the fish that you bought might be caught again if you release nearby where you buy the fish. See.
Okay. Understand.
So you want to release a fish in a safe environment also, so that no one can then catch it again and sell it back again.
Okay. I think they normally buy it at the market and then release it at the temple, so I think that should be fine.
Okay, yeah. Usually if it's in a temple it's safe, but sometimes it can be overcrowding, too many people.
That's true.
So it's better just to go to a river somewhere and, just release it. Or if it's a fresh water, go to a river. If it's salt water, then you go to a sea or somewhere and release it into the wild.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I have another question. Just now, someone was talking about rebirth. Is it possible that we do not get rebirth at all and we actually stay in between the two realms?
You have to become a Buddha or the noble disciple not to take rebirth.
As in you don't get rebirth, but you actually still stay in this world. But you stay in the middle kind of thing.
No, when you don't have a body, you exist as a spiritual being.
Yep.
And then eventually you will then take a human birth again.
Okay.
Only when you stop all your defilements, get rid of all your defilements, your craving, then you will not take any rebirth after that.
Like for example, for people who killed themselves or committed suicide, do they get rebirth, or
Yes, but before they can get rebirth, they will have to pay the consequence of the killing of the. It's considered to be a bad karma, and the person will the mind will exist as the hellish being, full of suffering.
Okay.
Until that fire consumes itself out, then it then can take up a human birth again.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. Thank you.
Yannasami, you're next.
Hello, Tanajan. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Go ahead.
I have a couple of questions. I'll try not to take so much time. But I had some experience in meditation where my mind was focused and I saw myself looking at the mind, but without the object, which is the breath. In that case, I was confused. I wasn't sure what to do. Should I go back to the breath or should I stay with that state which didn't have any thoughts, but it was just like me looking at the mind instead of the breath, but it was focused and concentrated.
What is the mind? You say you're looking at the mind. What does it look like?
It's just, it doesn't look like anything. It's just I felt the mind was very centered, like here in the middle, and it's not going to the thoughts, but it's not going to the breath. And it felt, I can't say good, but it just felt like concentrated and it's just frozen or just
I think
focused.
It's just an image created by the mind, and you take it as the mind. See? So you should stick
a
with
distraction.
You should stick with your breath better.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. Just I went back to the breath. Actually, I just wanted to get the explanation. Okay, there's also one sutta. I think I was reading about Metta Sutta or something. It said that if we practice metta, that if we don't develop any further, then at least we'll get to birth in the Brahma realm. But in my previous experience, I know that to be born in Brahma realm, you need to have the formless jhana, one of the formless jhana, which is fifth jhana up to eighth jhana.
No, there are two levels of Brahma realms, the Rupa and the Arupa Brahma. Once you enter into the jhana, you enter into the Brahma realms. The Rupa jhana send you to the Rupa realm, which is the form. And then if you get the Arupa jhana, then you enter into the Arupa Brahma.
Yes, but here the sutta, I think the Metta Sutta is saying that just by practicing Metta meditation alone, then you can go to the Brahma realm. And that is my question.
You can use metta as your meditation object instead of your breath. It's just what it means.
So either metta, bhavana, or the breath can both lead us to the Brahma realm?
Yes, to the jhanas.
So metta will also lead to the jhana.
Yeah. You just keep reciting metta, metta, don't think about it. It's like reciting bhutto, bhutto. Or watching your breath. It's a form of concentration, using metta as an object of your meditation, of concentration.
Yeah, and it's supposed also one of the benefits of metta is to increase concentration. That's why some people recommend practicing metta and then shifting to the breath. That way concentration can be attained easier.
Yes, because when you see metta is really, practicing metta is of two levels. One is when you're meditating and you concentrate on metta as your meditation object. The other one is when you're meeting people, then you have to give loving kindness to them. Don't hate them, don't get mad at them first. Be nice to them. When the mind is nice, the mind can become calm. So it's easy to enter concentration later on. If your mind is angry, then you find it very hard to enter into concentration. So these two parts of metta. When you're dealing with people, you want to be nice, you want to be kind. So that doesn't create agitation in your mind. So when you want to meditate, you find it easy for you to concentrate.
Sometimes it's difficult to keep the metta mind when people are being very abusive. in that case, most of the time I'm just try to be silent, but I find it hard to give those people metta.
Okay,
I'm not at that level yet.
Use equanimity then. Just use equanimity.
Equanimity.
Use ubeka.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Ajahn. No more questions.
Okay. Are you still practicing?
I'm practicing, yes, but I find that I'm going through phases where my practice naturally I'm practicing less because sometimes during meditation there's a lot of defilements coming out, so I feel like I need some time to process, and then naturally then I start to increase 4 or 5 hours a day. But past few days have been much less, 1 or 2 hours, more on chanting and reading, and but I always keep the Dhammic activities. I'm not straying from that.
What about your attitude toward the COVID-19 now that you have been infected? Do you feel safe now to go anywhere or do anything?
I'm actually I don't usually go many places, but I don't feel so safe because I'm still kind of suffering. Because after COVID, my body has not went to the same natural state. I still find that I easily get tired, like when I go for a walk, or I need more sleep. So actually, I'm wary about getting it again because some doctors say.
Can you get it again?
But what I'm saying, some doctors say you will get it. You don't make immunity. And then some doctors say, no, you have immunity for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. And we don't know for sure.
Maybe it's just
exactly.
like the cold. You get it once and it takes a while before you catch it again.
Yeah, but in this case, I don't recommend anyone to take it lightly as a cold, because after a cold, you're back to normal. For me, I'm sleeping at least 3 hours more than I used to. And most of the time, body is tired, and meditation, sometimes falling asleep. And,
So you're not fully recovered then?
I'm not even sure I will ever fully recover, because it's been already, 2.5 months, and still my body's not. And I used to light incense. Now I cannot. If I light incense, then I start coughing again. So even my lungs have not fully recovered.
Yes, thanks for sharing this experience, because we don't know, what it's like and whether you can still be infected or not.
Yeah, but this is only my personal experience. I know a lot of people who got COVID, went back to normal. They did not have the same symptoms that I had. And I know, like, sometimes one husband will have COVID, and he's sleeping in the same bed with his wife, but his wife will never got the COVID. So it's the most weird disease that we have. There's nothing. Everybody has a different experience.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your experience.
Thank you, Bante.
All right. Next, Anura G from New Zealand. Hi.
Hello, Tang Ajahn, how are you?
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, I have no special question, Ajahn, but I heard one of the terms you use in one of the Dhamma sermon is a bhavanga. Is it what's the actual meaning on the bhavanga?
Bhavanga is a state of repose, the mind state of repose, which can be either sleep or meditate or jhana, depending on if you have mindfulness or not. If the mind enter repose without mindfulness, then it is sleep. If you enter repose with mindfulness, it's jhana, when it becomes still.
Okay, thank you, Tang Ajahn. Yeah.
At least that's my interpretation of it. I could be wrong, I don't know. But okay.
Yeah. And that's, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Next, Jason Ong from Singapore.
Good evening, Ajahn. I'm not from Singapore, I'm from Penang, Malaysia.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry.
It's okay, Ajahn. I have no question tonight. My gratitude to all your Q&A session, Ajahn. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.
You're welcome. Edwin Tan, you're next.
Good evening, Ajahn. No questions from me today. Just once again, very happy and thankful to see you online. Recently starting to see that every meeting could be a last meeting, and starting to see and understand a bit more about anatta. So once again, very thankful to see you, Ajahn, and may you be healthy and well. I'll pass the time on to others who need it more.
Okay. Next, Darling from London.
Hello, Ajahn. No
Yes.
question. We're just listening. Thank you.
Okay. ST. Hi, ST.
Hi, evening, Ajahn. Yeah, no questions. And listening. Thanks.
Okay. Next, Pimpida. Pimpida Thanarat.
กลับ
Hi.
นมัสการค่ะพระอาจารย์ Hi ค่ะ I have no question today. I'm just very grateful and I was very happy to get to see you last week.
Okay. When are you leaving for the States?
I'm actually flying off Wednesday night next week.
Next week. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in to say hello.
ค่ะกราบขอบพระคุณค่ะ I'm just listening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then we go to Leon Keys Boone. Hi, Leon Key Boone.
นมัสการท่านอาจารย์ครับ
Okay, I remember you. I recognize you.
Yeah, ท่านอาจารย์
You used to come and stay with us on the mountain.
That's right, ท่านอาจารย์ Yes, about 3 months I managed to stay there. I really wanted to go back and one day to meet, especially all the international monks that stay together, have tea together, go to Pintapat every morning. So it's a very memorable experience,ท่านอาจารย์. Just to report toท่านอาจารย์, I managed to find one place in about 2 hours from my house. I managed to talk to the abbot of the temple. It's kind of a forest, but at the moment, because of the COVID-19, so we are not allowed, the temples are not allowed to take in any devotees for meditation retreat. So probably have to wait for a while. But it's a good thing that I managed to contact the abbot, and it's a good progress.
Okay, what kind of tradition is the monastery?
It is a monastery. Actually, the abbot passed away about 2 years ago, but he actually was ordained in Thailand. I can't remember the place, but now there's a new abbot there. It's a kind of it's a forest. It's very close to a cemetery, so it's quite those people who are not experienced maybe a bit what you call fearful to stay there. But for me, I think I'm prepared for that.
Yeah.
And they don't have any Buddha statue. It basically is just nothing there, very plain. Just some rooms for the devotee to stay, and the monks really practice 8 precepts and just like Wat Yannasangwararam and a lot of free time to the devotees. So just Pintapat and then come back. You do your own things, just like Wat Yannasangwararam, for people who go there and stay like 7 nights. This is what I have gathered from what I know.
Are there many monks there?
There are a few monks there. Not many, because this is a really they follow the true teaching of the Buddha. So not like you see in the town, or people go for retreat in the aircon room. This is a natural environment. So And every morning the monks have to go out for pintabat and then come back. And then after that, sometimes they have Dhamma talk. So they listen to the Dhamma talk, but they can do Dhamma talk sometimes in English, sometimes in Chinese dialect, like Hokkien and all that. So the abbot who will pass away gave a very good Dhamma talk in Hokkien. He was actually a Malaysian monk. He was an engineer, electrical engineer. I think about monk for about almost 20 years. He passed away around 70 plus. In fact, that place was actually recommended to me by my mother, because my mother went there to see the abbot offer robes. It was in 2017. So my mother actually told me about this place, and then I actually contacted the abbot now. So far it's very good. Abbot actually said, yeah, you can just wait for the COVID-19, when the country open up, devotees can go. Then surely, I will have a chance to go there.
Okay, good.
I have a question, Ajahn. I listened to one of the Dhamma talks by this the abbot who passed away 2 years ago. He's said that for someone who practice meditation often, when he pass away, he'll be born intelligent. I just maybe want to get Ajahn explanation as to how that can happen. Yeah.
Well, if you use a lot of wisdom contemplation, then you'll be wise, you'll be intelligent. Because this is you have. But if you only practice mindfulness, you won't be intelligent, because you don't develop any wisdom yet, or insight yet.
I see. So it's more on the Chitta Bhavana. I see.
On the vipassana level, if you do contemplation, anicca, dukkha, anatta, and Four Noble Truths, you look at everything as cause and effects.
I see. Like anything around Dhamma, this the nature of life that you contemplate, that you get understanding, then you will be wise not to make silly mistakes. I understand, Ajahn.
Okay. All right.
I think that's all, Ajahn.
All right. Okay. Nice talking to you.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. I think everybody has asked questions. May I go to Kun Chan Siri for any question from Facebook?
Yes, there are 5 questions from Facebook, Ajahn. The first question from Hai Eng Il. How do we practice Yoniso Manasikan or wise attention in our daily life, especially dealing with stressful and negative situations?
By contemplating everything is anicca, dukkha, anatta. Yes.
And the second question from Po Liang Soon. Can Ajahn explain, after samadhi, it will go to jhana, first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, till 7 jhana. Can you explain each different jhana?
Well, you have to look up in the book. And the book will tell you what first jhana is, second or third and fourth. But when you practice, all you have to do is just focus on your meditation object. And then it will take you there automatically, one by one. Or sometimes it can go very quickly from 1 to 4, like falling from a high place. But then you don't have to worry. The goal is to get to the fourth jhana in our practice here, to get equanimity. You don't even have to go to the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th jhana. You have to have more stronger mindfulness. And you don't really need it for the practice of vipassana. So you need just the 4th jhana to get equanimity into your mind. Then you can use equanimity to resist your cravings, your desire.
And second question from Po Liang Soon. When is the time we should do contemplate while meditation?
when you're not in jhana, when you're practicing for jhana, you don't meditate. You keep focusing on your meditation object. But you only when you come out of meditation, then you can start contemplating if you want to.
And the third question from Po Liang Soon. What are the purpose of watching 32 parts of body?
To see the body clearly as being unwholesome, repulsive, disgusting, not beautiful, not attractive, as we tend to look at the body. If you can see the skeleton, will you still think your body is beautiful or not? We all have skeleton, right? But we still have beauty contests. That's because we don't see the skeleton. If the skin is so clear like a plastic bag, then we probably won't have any beauty contests. So you want to teach your mind, to train your mind to be able to see through the skin, to see everything under the skin.
And next question from Ah Seng. Prajaan, with respect earlier question on releasing animal as gift of life, would blood donation be considered as gift of life?
Yes, you're helping someone who might die without the blood.
And which is superior gift of life between blood donation and releasing animals?
Well, it depends on the benefit. The greater benefit, then is the better. The less benefit. It depends on the benefit.
And the last question from Amon Pan Pink. Namaskaran kaท่านอาจารย์. Thank you very much for an enlightened session today. I'm wondering whether we can practice Asupha meditation at any time or must we reach Sotapanna level first? ขอบคุณค่ะ.
Well, you can do this before any level at all, just to prepare yourself. But eventually you will use it after you have become a Sotapanna in order to uproot all your sexual desire. That means you have to be able to contemplate Asupha all the time. Every time you look at the body, you will see it as Asupha right away.
That's all ท่านอาจารย์.
That's all the questions.
Yeah.
Okay, now back to us. Anybody would like to ask any more questions, please raise your hand and then just unmute your microphone. Belinda, okay, Belinda.
Then Ajahn, if let's say if I feel there is attachment to teacher, for example, if I feel I may be attached to Ajahn, how can we how do we go about this?
Well, attachment has many different levels. You have to rely on a teacher when you still don't know how to do it yourself. So this is also considered to be a healthy attachment. But you have to also understand that your teacher is also impermanent. At any time he can die or he can be separate from you and not be able to teach you. Then you also have to tell yourself that you have to not be so dependent on him to the point where you become lost without him. So you have to either look for alternative teacher. Also, there are many different teachers that you can go to. Or you can wait, you can take one at a time. If you like this teacher, stick with him for as long as him or her, for as long as possible. When he or she no longer can be your teacher anymore, then you go for someone else. But the best teacher is yourself. The goal is to be your own teacher. By relying on other teachers to teach you to be able to teach yourself. This is what the Buddha meant by Attahi Atano Nato. You are your own refuge. You are your own teacher. That's when you become enlightened. Once you become a Sotapanna, then you become your own teacher. You can become your own teacher from that point on. But before that, you need someone enlightened to guide you. But you also have to remind yourself that everything is impermanent. So it's better to not waste your time doing other things. Try to spend more time on your practice before the time runs out, before your teacher dies or you die. Because once you become a Sotapanna, if you should die before you get full enlightenment, you can teach yourself in your next life. You don't need another teacher to teach you anymore. You can work your way up to the full enlightenment by yourself. Okay. Next, anybody? Kafai, Lim, did you? No. Okay. Nobody? William, you want to say something or just? Okay, we have the late visitor, Phoebe Sang. Good evening, good morning, how are you?
I'm good, Ajahn. Thank you. I just wanted to ask about karma. My limited understanding of karma is karma comes to fruition at different times. We take some karma into this life and it manifests and we continue to create karma and so on. And I sort of look at karma as, or the way I understand it at the moment is sort of, I think of it like a habits and tendencies that we can either try to develop or try not to follow if it's more negative. So I just want to ask about what does it mean when I've heard that if it's said that we come to this life with a purpose. So that we have a purpose before we got born into the body, but we just forgot it because we're distracted when we're born. So what is this purpose, and is it important to know it, and or does it change, or is it just part of the karma? Does it just mean the dominant karma?
Yes, the purpose of our birth is to satisfy our cravings. We have the cravings for sensual pleasure, cravings for being, and craving for not being in the mind. And these are the things that pushes us to take birth so that we can then satisfy our craving. Because without the body, we cannot see, hear things. So we need a body. So we take a body in order to fulfill our cravings. That's the purpose of our rebirth. But rebirth has its drawback. It has suffering, because once you have a body, you will then have to get old, get sick, and die. So the wise man, like the Buddha, says it's better not to take rebirth, have rebirth. So he said the only way to stop rebirth is to get rid of the cravings. Cravings for sensual pleasure, cravings for being, and cravings for not being. Once there are no cravings, then there's no purpose for rebirth. Okay? You don't forget, the purpose is there all the time, pushing you to go crazy when you have to stay at home, when you cannot go out. Because your purpose is to go out and have happiness, find happiness from sensual objects.
I just was wondering, because there are some people who have a very strong purpose to practice or to ordain, for example, like people who have a very strong determination and they carry it from their previous life. And then when they become born, they very quickly find the path and they continue to practice. So I was thinking that would be their purpose, but most of us don't have that.
Well, you have the defilement purpose. It's the defilement that's pushing your purpose. your cravings. You don't have to be told to go look for happiness from the sensual objects, right? You know it within yourself that I can be happy if I go shopping, if I go eating, if I go drinking, if I go have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You don't need to be taught these things because it's inherent in your mind already. For most people, for very few people in their past life, they might have come across the Buddha and learn to practice meditation and learn to develop wisdom. So when they're born in this life, they become they can become ordained very early in their lifetime and continue on with their practice. But very few people are like that. Okay. So if you're not ordained, it means in your past life you haven't developed any of these things before. But you can do this in this lifetime now. You have the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha to guide you. Anybody else? Kilian Dong.
Hello, Ajahn. For the rebirth, for the place of rebirth, does the language do anything, like have any connection with it? Like I heard sometime, I think either it was Ajahn Panya or someone else said that if, like in this life, you learn English quickly, for example, maybe in the past life you had it before, or like to become a Thai person. If I try to learn the language now, will it help me in the next life?
Yes, I guess so. If you already don't know how to speak Thai and you take a Thai birth again, you might find it easy for you to learn it very quickly because something you already have inside your mind. But this is really not that important. Languages. What's important is have you followed the teaching of the Buddha in your past life, avoiding doing bad karma, do only good karma, and purify the mind. If you have been doing this, then in this lifetime you will continue doing it again.
Regardless of language.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody? Sajalka.
Hi. I have a question. That is my understanding correct? Then to think that according to Buddhists, these things that the heaven is also temporary. Heaven is after you run out of good karma, you actually drop down from there to another realm.
Yes.
Okay.
Heaven and hell are temporary. Once the bad or good karma expires, then you return and take a human birth.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, all the three realms of existence are all temporary. The Brahma world, the Deva world, the human world, the hell world, they're all temporary. Only Nibbana is permanent. Once you get into Nibbana, then you will not leave Nibbana forever. Okay. Anybody else?
Real me, but he don't turn on the video.
Real Me Too Pro, raise hand. You have video? Turn on your video.
Okay.
I don't see it.
Hello,
Okay,
good
go
evening,
ahead.
Ajahn.
Okay, go ahead.
Just want to ask because I am struggling with my meditation practice. I'm still a beginner. What is the Ajahn own personal experience when Ajahn first started practicing meditation? Did Ajahn also face a lot of problems?
Well, I'm not sure. I could sit and I start sitting, but I can only sit for maybe 10 or 15 minutes first. But then I start to develop more mindfulness, and I could start to sit longer and longer. So you go from very little to more and more as you keep on training yourself with mindfulness.
Actually, what Ajahn, what I'm practicing now is I try to count numbers from 1 to 100 and then backwards to train my mindfulness. Whenever I remember, I just keep doing it. Is this the correct way to develop mindfulness?
Yes, but you should do more before you come and sit also. Before you sit, when you're still doing things, you can still practice mindfulness by focusing on what you do to prevent your mind from thinking about other things. If you can do that when you sit down, you will find it easier to concentrate. And after you have counted, maybe you should stop counting and then start looking at your breath instead, watching your breath.
My mind is, I find my mind is very active and it just runs off easily. Is there any other things I can do besides like reciting a mantra and counting numbers?
Well, chanting, reciting the 32 parts of the body, chanting a sutta, and then after that you might find your mind becomes calmer. Then you might want to then switch to watching your breath instead.
So the chanting, does it matter if I chant in English?
No, it doesn't matter any language, but you should do it mentally if it's possible. Don't do it verbally. But when you first start, if you have to do it verbally, it's okay. But eventually, it's better to do it mentally.
Any particular suttas that Ajahn would recommend?
Anyone you like. The Mangala Sutta is also a good one. 38 auspicious action. Asevana jabalanang manitanang jasevana puja japushaniyanang etamang kalamutamang. You can do the translation. You can recite the translation if you like, so you can understand what you are reciting also.
One more question, Ajahn. My friend just planning to ordain next week. So my question is, if he goes to a monastery and he ordains there, and he finds that he doesn't fit in to the monastery, is it okay for him to disrobe and then go to another monastery to ordain?
Well, normally before they let you ordain, they'll let you go through a trial period first to see whether you can get along with people in the monastery or not. Usually 1 year. With serious meditation monastery, they don't ordain you easily. They want to make sure that you can assimilate into the monastery life.
Is it true that we are allowed to disrobe 3 times?
You can disrobe as many times as you like. There's no limit. But they say that if you keep disrobing, then it's useless. It's useless for you to ordain, because as soon as you ordain, you probably disrobe again.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you to Ajahn and everyone involved in this broadcast. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Next, somebody else will raise their hand just now. Okay.
Yes, then Ajahn, I just wanted to ask if it's okay to do some chanting videos or Dhamma talks while during meditation. Do you think that's okay?
Use it instead of chanting it yourself.
Forward.
Yeah, you can use that also, but
yeah, chanting myself, just listening to some Pali chanting or Dhamma talks.
Yes, but there's
while
only
doing
one drawback.
The meditation. Do you think
there's only one drawback is if you happen to be in a place where you cannot listen to, then what would you do then?
Yeah, to become an attachment, no?
Yeah, but if you can do it yourself, then you can always do it anywhere, right? Anytime.
Yeah.
But when you first start, if you cannot do it yourself, you can use the outside source first. But eventually you want to have the inner source within yourself. Then you can do it anywhere, anytime.
I see.
Okay.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you.
And you don't have to chant long chant, just the basic chant is good enough, but you can do it many times. Just keep repeating them. Like Buddhang Saranang Gacchami,
It's
Dhammang
the
Saranang
repetition that
Gacchami.
helps.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I repeat that when I'm usually doing walking meditation. I
Yeah.
repeat Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Just keep repeating.
Yeah, the goal is to prevent your mind from thinking about other things. That's all. So the chant can be repetitious. If you like long chant, you have to remember more. See? But
Memorize.
if you have short memory, then just use short chanting, but keep reciting them again, repeating again and again. That's the benefit of reciting.
Just keep
Bhutto.
reciting Buddha. That's the best
Bhutto is the
solution.
easiest one. See.
Doesn't get shorter than that. Only 2
Yeah.
syllables. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Lisa, you raised your hand earlier. Did you want to ask anything?
Yes, Ajahn. I want to understand the rhyme of existence is just a state of mind, right? There's no location to go to, like the heaven and the hell. There's no up or down. It's just a state of mind, right?
Yes, the quality of your mind. If you're happy, your mind happy, you're in heaven. If your mind is misery, you're in hell.
So at let's say after death, when they say that you go to hell or you go to heaven, actually is that when the person have the last breath, if let's say they do a lot of bad karma, automatically because they're going to suffer, that is representing going to hell in that sense. Is that?
That's right. Just the mind.
Just the mind, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's the Brahma realm or the
It's
whatever,
all in the mind. It's all in the
only
mind.
mind,
The
right?
quality of the mind, or the
Yeah,
status of the mind.
Yeah, and the quality of the status of the mind. Let's say go to the Brahman realm that is don't know how many aeons or anything. It's just that the spiritual being is there, right? It's nowhere, right? It's because it's how do I say?
It's like when your mind enters into jhana, when you're in the Brahma.
So that means there's nowhere actually, but it's just an
Yeah.
understanding for our
Right.
meditators that to understand that it's like this, right?
Because the mind is different from the body. You see. The mind doesn't have size or shape, so it doesn't need space like the body does.
Okay. So this is what I want to understand because when we read and we watch some Dhamma talks, they say it in such a way that it's quite confused, like there's some place to go, but it's not somewhere to go, it's just a state of mind.
Yeah, the state of mind,
Just like,
changing from one state to the next.
Okay.
You're going inside your mind, going up or down inside your mind.
Okay.
If your mind is happy, you're going up. If your mind is sad, you're going down.
So even we are living, we are alive now, if the state of mind is always going up and down, whether you're contacting with people or you're doing meditation, is always, the mind is always at somewhere. Correct?
The mind is always there. It's the same. You cannot use the word that we use with the body, it's like a place or somewhere. It's not applicable to the mind. But we have to use it. But we have to use it. But see, the mind is something entirely different from the body. So you cannot use the location, size, or shape, or anything. You can only tell the feeling. That's how you describe the mind. Good feeling or bad feeling, happiness or sadness.
Okay, understand. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you.
Okay. Check, you raised your hand just now. Sri and check. Okay.
Ajahn, I'm wondering about this disenchantment, the word. The true disenchantment will only come when you enlighten, or when you,
Disenchantment from things that you used to like. Before you
yes.
used to be enchanted by them. But eventually when you see that they are dukkha, then you have disenchantment
But
from wisdom.
it's not real at disenchantment if we are restraining, like we are, let's say, keeping the precept and restraining. Sometimes we do see it like, but sometimes not. So that's not true disenchantment, right? Like that's only partially.
Well, I can give you an example. You used to love somebody, and then one day you find out that that person that you love is really not worth it. Then this is what disenchantment is. Okay.
Good example.
Yeah.
But you truly have to
See,
know.
anicca dukkha anatta.
Yeah.
Not because he or she did something that you didn't like, and then you become disenchanted. That's still defilement, disenchantment by defilement, because he doesn't do what you like anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But you see him or her or that being anicca dukkha anatta, not as being sukhang atta, nicca sukhang atta. You see the opposite. Normally we become enchanted because we see a person or thing as giving us happiness that will belong to us all the time, be with us all the time. See, but when you study the nature of people, saying they are impermanent, they're not the same all the time. They keep changing, and they cannot give you happiness all the time. Sometimes they give you dukkha. So when you see this, then this enchantment comes, it appears in your mind. You're no longer being enchanted by them.
But if it's back and forth, then it's defilement. You said.
Yeah,
Like,
that's because you're not looking at the three characteristics of existence. You look at the benefits you gain from that person.
yeah.
If he gives you money, then you're enchanted with him. But as soon as he start to get money from you, then you start.
So disenchantment have to
That's
come.
defilement, see, because you look in terms of benefit for yourself.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Real disenchantment, you see the truth of that, the three characteristics in them.
Right.
When you see them that not being reliable to be your source of happiness, then you can have this real disenchantment. But you don't tend to see that. You don't see the anicca. You still think that this thing that gives you happiness will be with you all the time. But then one day suddenly, when this person suddenly die or something, then you see the truth, but it's too late. By that time, you'll be sad. Okay, so true disenchantment follows enlightenment. Enlightenment means seeing anicca dukkha anatta.
You said disenchantment follow enlightenment.
Yeah.
After you see the dukkha and anicca,
Right.
you enlighten.
Disenchantment arises.
Yeah.
You're not enchanted by anything in this world anymore, by the three realms of existence, because you see them all as anicca dukkha anatta. But you don't see them all at once. You do one step at a time. First, the sensual world, sensual pleasure world, sensual object world. Then you go to the Brahma world, the Rupa Brahma, and the Arupa world, Arupa Brahma world. And then you kind of become disenchanted one at a time.
So if we are like we want to practice because we have a fear, and we sometimes we do see like it's suffering, and we have the fear, and we want to be out of samsara, so we try to practice, but that's not disenchantment. That's just Like,
Yes, that's partial and disenchantment, not real yet, but forced disenchantment.
force.
Force, or maybe by due to your ability to look at the dukkha that you used to have with the things, that you become disenchanted. Like the Buddha saw his body becoming old, becoming sick and die.
Yeah.
But that's just a starting point.
Mm. Yeah. Because we do have to see a little bit, so that
Because he could not yet detach himself from the body, even though he sees that the body is impermanent. So he needs something like equanimity before he can do that.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay, anybody else? Everybody has their share of asking questions today. Any from Facebook? Any question from Facebook? Any more? No more. Okay. So we have done about 2 hours and 12 minutes so far. I think this is pretty good time for us to say goodbye for now. Thank you for your participation. I hope that you have benefited from this meeting and help you advance in your practice. In the meantime, please continue on. Don't be discouraged. Just keep on pushing yourself. Tell yourself success is just around the corner. Enlightenment is waiting for you around the corner. But you have to be mindful. You have to be wise. All right? Okay. Goodbye for now.
Thank you,
สาธุ thank you ท่านอาจารย์
สาธุ
สาธุค่ะ
ขอบพระคุณค่ะ
Everyone.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you, admin.
everyone Thank
thank
you
you
พี่บอยพี่หลา
thank you
ค่ะ
admin thank you everyone bye
Thank
bye
you, everyone.
Good admin, thank you. Good
bye
luck.
good night everyone
Bye, everyone.
bye
Everyone, night.